My name is Mark DeMoss. I'm the founder of the DeMoss Group, a public relations firm which has enjoyed working with many RNA members for the past 17 years. As a sponsor of this luncheon, we get to do anything we want for about an hour and a half. And as we thought about this, we realized we could have a client speak to you, we could feature a book or a project that we're being paid to promote, but we chose not to do that. Instead, we decided to organize a friendly debate around what I believe is a timely subject. So let me set it up this way. In early 2006, I got a call from Dick Osling, who was still at AP, and he asked me this question. He asked if I thought that a Mormon, being a Mormon, would automatically rule out from consideration of evangelicals a presidential candidate. That summer, an LA Times Bloomberg poll revealed that 37% of evangelicals would not vote for a Mormon for president. Dick's question, and this other research and research similar to it, was of course anticipating an eventual presidential run by Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney, a Mormon. Well, as an evangelical Southern Baptist myself, this predisposition against a potential candidate based solely on his religious faith troubled me. So, after assessing his record and qualifications and learning all I could about his life, I sought a meeting with Governor Romney. We met in his office September 11, 2006. And on that meeting, on that occasion, I told him two things. First, I said, I was so bothered by this notion that evangelicals could not support, or at least many evangelicals could not support him on this basis, that I'd like to help him if he decided to run. The second thing I told him was he could not pay me. This began an interesting journey for me that led me to the Romneys' home in Massachusetts 6 weeks later with a dozen or so evangelical leaders which I had invited, and then to numerous primary states and periodic trips to Boston. Every time I spoke or wrote on Mitt Romney's behalf, I made 2 points, essentially. One, that I'm more interested that a candidate shares my values than that he or she necessarily shares my faith or my theology. And secondly, once I'm convinced that a candidate does share my values, I believe he or she should be competent and qualified to actually be the president, should they be elected. Well, over the course of the next 18 months, I would receive periodic email messages. These folks generally didn't call. Like this one from the publisher of a Christian newspaper in California. Quote, "Given the platform you have been given, the idea that you are polluting the death and sacrifice of Jesus Christ to help elect a cult member as president boggles my understanding of apostasy." Others tried a softer, more persuasive approach, like this woman who wrote, quote, "I'm writing to ask you to please endorse Mike Huckabee. This is a man of God and he deserves the support of Christians in America. If we don't support him, we will be guilty of kicking this gift horse from God in the teeth," end quote. The personal faith of our candidates has taken center stage in this election, perhaps more broadly than in any election in my lifetime. For example, we have dissected Mitt Romney's Mormonism, Mike Huckabee's past as a Southern Baptist preacher, Fred Thompson's sporadic church attendance, Barack Obama's association with a controversial pastor, John McCain's general reluctance to talk about his faith and his rejection of 2 evangelical pastors who endorsed him, and now Sarah Palin's Pentecostal roots and beliefs. I believe and have written on a few occasions that it is wrong to reject a candidate on the basis of their faith alone, and equally wrong to support a candidate on that same basis. So it is this political and religious landscape that prompted us to use this luncheon at RNA here in Washington to host a debate of sorts around this question: just how Christian does a presidential candidate need to be? And by the way, we could discuss, is being Christian enough? Well, we invited two people with different and interesting perspectives on this question. Dr. Robert Jeffress is the pastor of the historic First Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas. I was introduced to some of his views on this subject through his appearance in a documentary film titled Article 6. And incidentally, the producer of this film, Brian Hall, is here today and filming this discussion for some of his ongoing research around this subject. He's also offered to provide a DVD of Article 6 for those of you that would like one on your way out. Jay Sekulow is Chief Counsel of the American Center for Law and Justice, the ACLJ, and was an early supporter of Mitt Romney. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, the ACLJ is a client of our firm, and I also appear briefly in the Article 6 documentary. However, I've never been paid anything in conjunction with this film and have no financial interest or connection to it. Secondly, while we do work with the ACLJ, we do not represent Jay Sekulow with regard to his personal political views, and it's in that context that he's here today. So let me outline our format and we'll kick it off. Dr. Jeffress and Jay Sekulow will each make an opening statement of 8 minutes. Then they'll each be given a 3-minute rebuttal. Next, I'll ask each of them one question, which they don't know. They don't know the question, and allow a 3-minute answer for that. We'll then let each of them ask one question of each other, allowing a 3-minute answer, and then we'll entertain your questions.